Hello. Today I will present my findings on techniques to enforce the execution of child support in Brazilian system. Well, when we think of child support, we would like to consider this reality. But unfortunately, many times what comes to our minds is this Brazilian reality. Many conflicts are related to different needs, interests, and different perceptions of needs and interests. And as conflict causes, we can identify as most common factors intolerance, lack of respect about different perspectives and visions, misunderstandings, unrealistic expectations. And now some highlights about Brazilian system. The existence of an underage child in a divorce context requires the presence of a member of the public ministry, Ministério Público as we call it, to act as an independent party. Its legal obligation is to verify if the best interests of the child are being respected and properly enforced. A presence of a judge is also necessary to validate any decision concerning the child, even if the procedure is amicable between the two parents and an agreement is already in place. And what happens when the debtor doesn't pay? Well, the enforcement of the decision is guaranteed by Code of Civil Procedure, where we can find rules about the proceedings to collect child support or alimony. Articles 528 until 533 and 911 until 913. In order to ensure the execution of child support and alimony, the 2015 Brazilian Code of Civil Procedure establishes different procedural techniques for achieving this goal, such as attachment of assets and civil detention. So these are the options. We have enforcement by means of income withholding, enforcement by notice of dishonor, protest, enforcement under the penalty of attachment of assets, and enforcement under the penalty of civil arrest. Today, I'll talk about civil arrest and its limitation in this pandemic context. Debts often accumulate over time, and alimony is classified in recent debts, which include the last 3 unpaid installments plus the installments falling due, which can be executed under penalty of civil arrest, and old debts prior to the last 3 installments, which must be executed under penalty of attachment of assets. So there's risk of civil arrest, and in the proceeding for collecting child or other family support, the debtor has 3 days after the court service to perform payment. How about civil detention? Well, this is the sole case in which personal coercion is allowed in civil debts. Execution for collecting child support or other family support. And there's a time limit to this arrest. It can be imposed from 1 to 3 months. Although in the pandemic context, there were not only decisions, but also the enactment of a legal provision establishing house arrest as an appropriate regime. So a question, is it possible to combine different mechanisms in the same procedure, requiring, for example, arrest and expropriation of property? I guess The answer is yes. It's important to apply simultaneous techniques to achieve efficiency. But there's a problem. When civil arrest is required, traditionally, judges only accept using one enforcement technique at a time. So the legal literature and the courts dispute about the possibility of merging these procedural techniques. Some say, or you choose civil detention as a penalty, or you choose attachment of assets as an option. You can't have both of them. Well, a recurring argument is that accumulation would generate procedural turmoil. But this isn't necessarily true. It is enough to devote attention to the timeline of procedural progress to be clear about the acts and their destination. As an example, it is up to each decision or petition to separate items on the issues. For this, arguments can be highlighted about A, prison, and B, expropriation of assets. It is important to grant the request to apply various procedural techniques to honor the principle of procedural economics, procedural agility, and efficiency of procedures, and above all, to implement the special protection guaranteed by the Brazilian Constitution to people who depend on support to guarantee their human dignity. Versatility is definitely an inherent virtue for anyone who takes on the arduous challenge of dealing with the need to receive child support. Well, as a final remark, I tell you a Portuguese proverb: water dropping day by day wears the hardest rock away. Thank you.